Hello, I'm Rahul and today I'm going to talk about a common problem that each one of us faces at some point in life, dealing with the negative and toxic people. I think most of us have these annoying people in our life whom we despise. Their very presence makes us irritated. And whenever we are around these people, we just want to get rid of them because their very presence is very irritating. And sometimes we tell them right away that they suck, or we get into an argument which further fuels the frustration. So let's try to find out the correct way to deal with these negative and toxic people. So I have got 4 essential points to say about this thing that will help you in understanding the problem. And out of that very understanding, a right response will be born. So the first point to understand is that negative or positive is just your interpretation. You need to understand that there is no such thing as positive or negative. Positive and negative are just an interpretation of your mind. If someone agrees with your point of view, he becomes a positive person. If someone disagrees with your point of view, he becomes a negative person. So positive and negative are just there in your head. They are not factual things. For example, let's say that you are at work and somebody cracks a joke about you and everyone around laughs at it. Now you will feel offended, and the person who cracked a joke about you will become a negative person for you because his joke created some sort of unpleasantness in you. But is he really a negative person for the people who laughed at the joke? No. For them, he becomes a positive person because his joke created pleasantness in them. So this is the first thing to be understood, that positive and negative are your interpretation. You don't need to take them seriously. The second point is to drop the interpretation. Once you have understood that positive or negative is just an interpretation, just drop the interpretation. Why? Because it does you no good to hold on to the anger and resentment, even if the other person deserves it. Carrying around hatred for the other person will create more unhappiness in you. It will create more tension in you. So it's best to set aside the grudges, even if it is for your own sake. Remember, you cannot take responsibility for the action of other person, but you can take responsibility for your own actions. So always choose understanding over anger and resentment, because it is the understanding which will liberate you of these negative feelings of anger and resentment. And the third important point is to try and understand why the other person seems negative to you. If you have deeply understood the first 2 steps, then your mental energy will become free from anger and frustration. And now you can proceed to understand that why does the other person seem negative to you. So instead of boxing the other person as negative or toxic, just try to understand. Human beings are children of circumstances, situations, acquired habits, environmental influences, genetic makeup. Now, if life would have done to you what it has done to the other people, you would also have reacted in the same fashion. So never ever blame the other person for what he is doing to you. Always try to understand. If people are rude, boastful and short-tempered, then it simply means that these issues are stemming from the problem that they are having in their own life. It has nothing to do with you. If people are rude, then perhaps they don't like the job that they are doing. If people are boastful, then perhaps they are deeply insecure about themselves. So never ever box the other person as negative or toxic without understanding the story of their life. The fourth and the last point is to choose the right response. Now, once you have understood the cause for their behavior, the natural thing is to love them, not despise them. If someone is mean and selfish, he or she is already suffering. You don't need to have any unpleasant feelings toward a person who is already suffering. It's insensitive. So just wish for their well-being and let them be. Maybe they won't ever get to know the kind of feelings that you're having towards them. But it's fine. Keep these feelings just to yourself. You're not doing it to change the other person. You're just doing it for the love's sake. Because love is the right response. Every time you come across someone who seems like a so-called toxic and negative person, just take it as an opportunity to shower some love on that person. And you will be surprised how easily love comes to us. It takes an effort to be mean and rude to someone, but love is just an effortless force. So always choose love when it comes to dealing with the negative and toxic people in life, because love is the right response.